and it feels like you have to take this big leap. And so it's overwhelming. You feel stuck and I can't get anywhere. And the secret is you just start. There's only baby steps. There is only baby steps. You just start with one thing you want to do. Start with 1 or 2 habits that you want to develop, and start with those 2 habits and do them faithfully, and then add another habit, and you'll get there. That idea that we have to get there quick is going to sink you. But the cool thing is that happiness comes from moving forward, because opposite of being stuck, right?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Championship Leadership Podcast. We got Sherry Fernandez with us here today in Boise, Idaho. Thank you, Sherry, for being here. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Dave. Glad to be here. Glad to meet
absolutely.
you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Championship Leadership. What comes to mind for you? That's the name of the podcast. So what does that mean to you when you hear championship leadership?
I think a lot about leadership, because we have a number of businesses, and I've owned a business and run it myself, and we've had a couple others. Some we run, some other people run, but boy, that leadership thing is important. And for me, championship leadership is like the servant leadership. Like I love the title of Simon Sinek's book, Leaders Eat Last.
Yeah.
For me, that's championship. That's championship leadership.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that for sure. And yeah, that's a great book as well. Well, speaking of books, you have a book. So maybe,
yes, I do.
Maybe, if you want, if we're watching, you want to share it with the screen here so everybody can see.
Life Mastery, Personal Progression Towards an Infinite Potential. It's been doing pretty good.
Yeah.
That's on Amazon.
Wall Street bestseller. So that I would say that's
bestseller really on Wall Street. And yeah, it's been really well received, really well reviewed. I never set out to be a writer or an author. It was nothing I ever aspired to.
No,
I've been speaking and teaching for years, but and I've been asked to write a book. But I just didn't really think it would be my jam. But as it turns out, it turned out pretty good, I guess. So
yeah. Did you enjoy did you end up enjoying the process?
I did. I did enjoy the process, because it gave me a chance to really deepen the things that I teach. Is I to put it in words. You can't go back and re-explain like when you're speaking, right? Or teaching, you say, what I mean by that is this, right? You got to get it kind of right the first time, and really put it into succinct words. And then I also, so that was really good, and deepened my own understanding of the things I teach. But the other thing that was good for the process for me is I really realized just really how much I know, how much of I know, like really know, because I've lived it and I've taught it. And I thought, I guess I thought I'm pretty smart. But, when I started off, I thought, like you do, everybody has self-doubts, right? They go do something. I thought, well, who am I? This is a younger person's thing. Why am I writing this at this age? You have those kind of doubts. And as it went along, it just flowed out of me too. It was awesome. Actually much easier, and it just flowed out of me. And also, when you do a creative thing like that, sometimes you feel divine, like it's meant to be. And I had that too, like this is meant to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, why don't we continue down that path with, obviously you're an author and a best-selling author. But yeah, tell us a little bit more about yourself and the path and the journey that you've been on in life, and kind of how that takes you to where you are today and what it is that you're up to today.
I love that you asked that question, because a lot of people right now are trying to be life coaches and teaching things that they've not actually lived yet, right?
Yeah.
And so I did live this, and it came about like this. I was a party girl,
yeah,
in the hippie era, and I wasted a lot of years. And then I wanted to be serious about life. I met my husband, and I'd already had a child a couple of years before, and I wanted stability for her. And I'm not planning to have children, not planning to be married ever.
Yeah.
But now I'm in that situation when I've got a child. Okay, now I got to, want some stability. We got married, and me and my husband too have the same feeling. We were living just like way below the poverty line. It was really ugly, because we didn't have any. We started in our early 20s, and we had nothing to recommend us. I know nobody would have given us 2 cents for our future the way we had been living. And anyway, I wanted things, and Ken did too. But I wanted not just things like material things. I wanted financial freedom, and we were not having it. We were working so hard and still not making it, And I thought, if anybody can be successful, why can't I? I just have to find out how. And I didn't want to just be successful financially. I wanted to have, if I'm going to get married, okay, I'm going to have the best marriage possible, which I think I do.
Awesome.
And if I'm going to have, and we ended up having 6 kids, believe it or not. So if I was going to have these kids, I want to have the best body possible and have kids both. I think I could have it all. I'm pretty smart. I've got pretty good intelligence, and I've been championship debater in high school, and a little bit. I did 1 semester of college before I went crazy.
Yeah.
And in college, so I wanted the education that I missed, but I didn't need formal education. I just wanted to right. So I just had all these things that I want, and I wanted to be a better person. I have no disciplines, totally undisciplined. Just before we got married, about the time we got married, I quit drinking. I had a little bit of a problem with alcohol. And fortunately, the drugs didn't get me too much. So anyway, I wanted all this. And I just went to town reading books. I said, how do you be successful?
Yeah.
And I just read everything. I listened, those were the days of cassette tapes, right? So I listened to a lot of cassette tapes, and then we're having these kids and we're trying to put food on the table. So this is not a fast process. I don't want to come up with like, oh, we just read these things and then we were successful. This was a real slow process, but we did. Kid had a goal when he was younger to be a millionaire. He kind of lost track of it by the time he was 40, and we essentially did that. I think he was 41 actually. And so we went from this really poverty place in our mid-20s to pretty independently, financially independent, and it took us 15 years, but we did that, and then just went on from there. We're in our 60s now, but that was kind of the journey. But it's because I wanted, and I really believe, I still believe, that you can have it all. If having it all is not, not having it all, like I don't need a yacht and a plane like that, but have all the aspects of life. I could have my kids and be fit. I could be educated without going to school. I could have the financial independence to do whatever that I wanted to do, and interestingly enough, I have all of those things better than I even imagined I could get them.
Yeah.
Which is kind of how it works.
Yeah, right. I love it. That's great. Beautiful. Who have been some of the people that have impacted you along the way and maybe helped you with your journey? I know it sounds like you've read a lot, so I'm sure there's some people there just through that have impacted you, but more so, what are some of the characteristics that have really stood out from these leaders, coaches, mentors you might have had, that have kind of helped mold who you are as a leader?
Oh, Nate, I'm glad you put it that way. What are the characteristics that they have? So it started with the classics, like Zig Ziglar and Wayne Dyer and Brian Tracy, and then a little later Jim Rohn. But what you asked that question, what are the characteristics? This is what I love about these people. They went out in the world and they did something. Mm-hmm. They were successful, and then they came back and they taught it. Yeah, we have a lot of people in this personal development space that are wanting to teach, coach, speak, whatever it is. But I said, well, what have you done? Yeah. When I had my business, I had a fitness business for 9 years, and I'd have people come in and say, I'm going to help. I could to offer their services, right, for a fee to help me make my business successful. I said, well, how many businesses have you made successful? Before I sign on with you, what have you done? Right? Or we have a kid, and I call it it's the dilemma of the fat coach. Never hire a fat personal coach, a trainer, right? Never hire a fat trainer. Never hire a financially broke financial consultant. Yeah. And so totally. In life too. So those guys are all guys that did it. And there were others. There was just tons of people along the way, but those are the foundation ones. And then actually my husband, he's studying reader and just wise. And so he's been we've been able to, we really work good synergistically. He's been able to be a good grounding for me and reference for me in his own. So he make a great coach in his own right. So
yeah, excellent, love it. What is a vision that you have for what you're doing and the impact that you're making and helping people? I think championship leaders have great vision and courage to take action. So yeah, just curious, maybe next 5-10 years, what are you looking to do? You got the books, obviously making an impact there too, but yeah, what's the vision for you?
Well, obviously the book, and for the next, I've got a project I just finished up, which is a day planner that goes with the book. So I'm very excited about that. It's just
Awesome.
it's being sent out to those who purchase it at this point next week. So
Okay.
next Tuesday. So I'm really excited about that. And I'd like to continue to develop that. This will be the first printing in the first one. So I'm kind of, I didn't I didn't push it very hard because I wanted to have people use it a little bit and then try it again. This has been a 2-year project. To me, way longer to do the planner than to write the book, and a lot of designers and stuff. So I'm really excited about what the future is but you know what? And also, of course, I want to continue to mentor. It flows out of me. I can't do anything else. I would think, why do I keep doing this? It's because I just love it. I love the potential of humans. But this is kind of where I've always been such a goal setter. Like this is my next thing, my next thing, my next thing. This has been an interesting experience because I think it was like a new test or a new way to do it. Like I got on this train, I'm going to go where it's going to go. Where the book goes, I'm going to do everything I can to promote it. I'm going to continue to mentor. I'm going to continue to speak. I'm going to continue to do workshops, but I'm kind of letting it take its own life. And I'm just going to, in this case, follow the book and see what it does, where it goes.
Very good. Love it. What maybe think of a critical moment in your life, kind of a fork in the road where, you know, you either kind of have that decision to go left or right. Obviously you made the decision that you did, which has you with us here today where you're at, but had you not, you could be in a very different place. I think there's just always a lot of power for the listener today that might be in that place and, you know, is faced with that decision. To hear from someone else and how they decided.
Well, obviously I went left before I went right.
Yeah, well, there you go.
But there was a thing that I think is kind of important. And for me, I think I don't know why it happened for me, but I think anybody can claim it. And that is, I had a childhood that could have destroyed me. I mean, really easily destroyed me. My parents, this is early 1960s. So divorce was not a common thing. And my mother left my dad while they got divorced. I don't know whose fault is that. I'm going to go down that road, but and she had these 4 little girls, and I'm the oldest of these 4 little girls, right? And we're living in a little town in Utah, which I mean, she might have been the first divorced woman ever lived in the town. I don't know, right. And she wasn't very well equipped to support us or take care of us. And so, and then she married your stereotypical guy, you know, that would marry a woman in a kind of situation like that. So and my parents, well, they really loved us, both of them. And they did get back together some years later, but they loved us, but they were really not present or there. You know what I mean? Like, we love you, go out and play, come back by dinner, you know? And so I wandered a lot. And I don't know if I think I was always this way, or maybe I developed this, but I'm just little. I mean, I'm 8 and 9 years old. And I'm wandering around this little town and just everywhere. I mean, I wander miles. And I would think I'd go to the movies by myself. I found this local swimming pool and I figured out how to go and how to get in and do that by myself. I just spent a lot of time alone, but I would wander and think. And somewhere I just got this thought in my mind. I don't know where it came from, but I'm somebody special. Now I am a ragtag little girl in this little town that are kind of low class, right? Because of the divorce and everything, plus our financial level. I just knew I was somebody special and I was going to do something great. And I just knew, I didn't know what the great would be or anything. I just knew that I was somebody that was going to do great things, whatever that was. I think I imagined I was going to wear evening gowns and live in a penthouse, which is not the life I ended up with. But it was much better. Mine was much better. But that feeling stayed with me. It came back to me, let's say that, in my 20s, that feeling. I said, this is not me to live in this poverty place that I'm at right now. I'm destined for bigger things.
Sure.
And so I think those are like 2 pivotal points, kind of.
I love
it. As a child, and then as an adult, saying, I'm meant for better things, and I'm going to go after it.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you can't see the greatness in yourself, then, you know, sometimes, you know, who might, right? There's often times where, you know, people will come along that will see more in us than we see in ourselves too, on the flip side. But it's awesome that you had that. I resonated with, as you're telling your story. I was like, man, that sounds a lot like me as a kid. I was outside all the time, wandering around, like just going to the pool by myself. Sometimes you go to the theater by yourself or with a friend or whatever. But yeah, a lot of a lot of time roaming, which doesn't happen as much anymore. Which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Sometimes I wish the kids would have more initiative to just get out and play, but
Yeah.
technology, I think, has kind of grabbed a hold of them. Really no fault to their own, because technology is so addictive, but
It is, and ubiquitous too.
yeah.
But I think I suspect you and I both of this one thing in common, is that we probably had more time to wander than we should have had. All kids don't get enough.
Probably. Yeah.
But it may have been our advantage. I think
Yeah.
it was for me, because I think it could have destroyed, and it could destroy some kids. Didn't destroy you, it didn't destroy me, but
Yeah.
it could, that much time alone, or they could have been, the things that could have happened. But
Absolutely.
instead, it
Yeah.
helped me solidify who I was. And I think maybe you, because you're doing the podcast and talking about championship leadership. So I think maybe that did the same for you. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade that, people whine about their childhood. And, I had things happen that shouldn't happen to a child, but
Sure.
I just am grateful for that what it did for me, what that childhood, I like who I am and what I became.
Yeah.
And I think that childhood was part of that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, as we start to wrap this up, if there's one or two things you could give to the listener today, like, I don't know, piece of advice or principles to live by, that would help move their life forward today, what might that be?
Well, the first thing I would say is to start. We all know that being stuck is unhappiness, right? When you're stuck. And I feel like, especially in our super social media kind of world, we feel like, and maybe the people advise me this, I need to get over here. I'd like to be like Nate. How could I get there? It's too far away, right? Or I'd like to lose 20 pounds, or I'd like to, whatever it is, but it seems so far away. And it feels like you have to take this big leap. And so it's overwhelming. You feel stuck and I can't get anywhere. And the secret is you just start. There's only baby steps. There is only baby steps. You just start with one thing you want to do. Start with one or two habits that you want to develop, and start with those two habits and do them faithfully, and then add another habit, and you'll get there. That idea that we have to get there quick is going to sink you. But but the cool thing is that happiness comes from moving forward, because opposite of being stuck, right?
Yeah.
You take this, the happiness increases with the first step you take, and every step thereafter. So when they say happiness is in the journey, no, really, because really it is, because there's no end to the journey. If you had to wait till the end, you'd never get there, but it comes in every forward step. So just start somewhere.
I love
start
that.
with brushing your teeth. That's all you've got. Or meditating or praying, or some little habits that you want to develop, and to start there, do them faithfully and eternally, and then start with another one.
Yeah. I'm working on that with my son to make sure he gets his teeth brushed every day.
I say it joking, but I literally have had clients who that's where they were starting.
Yeah. No,
I really should brush my teeth better in the morning. Okay, well, let's start with that one.
Let's start with that. Yeah. That's great. You got to start somewhere, like you said. So love
somewhere.
It. Well, tell us, is there a main place we can go to follow more about you and what you're up to, your book? Let us know if social media or a website. Or
we're
what
on
it might
social media. Life Mastery Mentoring is a Facebook page, and there's an Instagram page, but I have a gal I hired to do that. I always forget to tell you how to get to that one. But we're on Facebook. Then of course there's a website, and you can probably find the Instagram thing there too. On the website is lifemasteryinfo.com.
Okay.
Life Mastery Info, because Life Mastery wasn't available. So it's lifemasteryinfo.com. And I'm Sherry, SHERRY, at lifemasteryinfo.com. I reply to all emails that I get. So you can contact me that way. And of course, the book is on Amazon. There's also a workbook that you can buy with the book, where you can actually, it's all the skills that I teach are in there, and you can actually do them. And then the planner, if you'd like the planner, you'd have to contact me personally.
Sure.
At this point, we'll get it up on Amazon at some point, but I'm not ready for that yet. I'm just selling it as people request it.
Yeah. So. Very good. Well, I love it. Yeah, we'll get that posted up in the show notes so that everybody can get to those easily. And appreciate your time today, Sherry. And for those listening, just stay right here. If you enjoyed this conversation and want more, stay here for the next episode. Don't go anywhere. Sherry, thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You too.
Thanks.